going on, guys? Alex here with 814 EDC, and today I'm ready to do my full review on the Asher Knives Ty Douglas. Now, this is a knife that I picked up. It's probably been between 2 or 3 months ago by now, so this review is pretty long overdue. But I really wanted to, carry it and love on it and really get my full thoughts and opinions on it, as it is my knife. So you guys know I tend to wait a little bit longer with knives that I purchase because I don't have to get them sent out as soon. But this right here is I'm going to go out and say it, the best knife that Justin over at Asher Knives has released. It is my favorite. It is just so good, and I think this is a serious contender for knife of the year, especially for the price point and everything that you get with this. Such a good value package. Design is fantastic, fit and finish, materials, ergos, action, all of that put together. This is just a fantastic knife, and I'm very happy to have one in my collection. I was able to snag this early from Justin. I know when he got him in, we had been talking for a couple months before that, actually, because I forget what we were talking about, but we kind of got into a conversation on Instagram about some of his upcoming models, and I remember him sending me like 3 kind of like CAD file pictures of his newer stuff coming out in the future, and this was one of them. And I was like, immediately, man, I have to get one of those. I missed out on the OG Douglas, which was a contoured micarta scaled knife with S35VN, same blade shape and everything like that. And everyone really liked that knife. I just happened to miss out on it, so I did not want to miss out on this one. So like I said, I was able to snag this one early. I bought it from him before he did a release. And as of right now on his website, they are not currently in stock. You guys know how Asher Knives tends to work. You guys have to be, on his email listing or pay attention to his Instagram. So I highly suggest going to his Instagram page and doing post notifications, because he does update stuff on there as well. But I believe his email listing and his email notifications are his biggest way of, telling people about, upcoming drops and drops happening and things like that. But yeah, just a beautiful knife. And you guys know Asher Knives, Justin from Pittsburgh, so that's where I live now. Still need to meet the guy. We have talked so many times before about getting together and having a beer and, things like that. And we've said it before, how busy life is and how busy our schedules are. But sometime I would like to meet up with him and to put a face to the name and to, shake his hand for producing some awesome knives. And he's a great dude. I've been talking to him off and on for the last couple years now, ever since he really started from the beginning. And just a really, really good dude. And I love supporting his products, and I love supporting him. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into the review. Starting off with materials, you guys can see this is a full titanium knife. You have thumb studs as well as a fuller on the blade. You have one of his loop over style deep carry pot clips that I believe is reversible. I really like pot clips like this that go above the knife and back down again, so it makes for a super deep carry. Nice tension on the bottom down here, on the bottom of the clip, slides into the pocket really well. You have a titanium backspacer. You have a 20 CV clip point style blade, nice and thin blade stock. 20 CV, you can see right there. It's a little dirty up in there for me carrying it, but 20 CV. So a really nice premium steel. You have an inset liner lock. As far as internal milling, there are 3 pockets milled on the show scale side, and looks like 2 pockets on the liner lock side. Again, you have thumb studs, as well as a fuller. On bearings, just a great package of materials. I cannot click on the listing for the Ty Douglas, so I'm not sure what the weights are for them or any specs like that, because normally on the website you can click on like details for prior knives, but I don't know why a lot of like the Ty versions don't have that. So I'm not sure what that's about. But I do believe it is right around 3 1/4 inch blade. Overall I'd probably say 7.5 to 8 inches, somewhere in there. It's a medium sized knife. And for weight, I would probably say right around maybe 4 ounces at most. But it's really nice in hand, great comfortability, great carry, which we'll talk about that later on in the review. But as far as materials are going, full titanium, dual thumb studs, fuller, inset liner lock, lovely titanium loop over style deep carry clip. You guys know, hard to not get a 5 in the materials category, and this gets a 5+, if that was a thing. Next up is aesthetic. I think this looks fantastic. I really love the way, I mean, they're just so simple. The lines are just clean, crisp. I mean, you pretty much have a straight line from the top of the point right here on the blade. The whole way back, you have a nice rounded off edge. And then down here, you pretty much have a straight line until you get to the indentation and the little bit of the lock bar relief or cutout right there. So, I mean, it's a pretty straightforward, pretty simple knife. And you guys know, if you've been, watchers of the channel for a while, I tend to gravitate more towards, cleaner designs and just simple. Because sometimes, it's the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. Sometimes simple is better, and a lot of the times I tend to agree with that in pocket knives and in the designing of knives and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, I love crazy designs as much as a Nest guy, but if you were to go and look at my collection, I have a lot of just streamlined, nice, just clean lines, and that's where this falls. And I think this thing looks fantastic. I wouldn't say I'm the biggest fan of clip point or kind of Bowie style blades, but this one just goes with the rest of the knife. Something about it, I love the way the fuller is built in up top here. And it's just, I don't know, something about it. I love it. I love the way the pot clip looks. I love the way the knife looks closed on both sides of the knife. I'm a huge fan of his logo, and I love that he puts it on the pivot now, so you get a nice sterile blade. So aesthetic is an easy 5 out of 5 as well. No complaints at all. A lot of pros, not a lot of cons. So 5 out of 5 on the aesthetic. Next up is action. You're probably gonna get another 5 out of 5, but you get a really nice snappy detent. I believe Kunwu is the OEM on these. I could be wrong, but I thought that's who was making all the titanium versions for Asher. I believe that's what I was told before. So Kunwu has a pretty solid foundation for making really nice knives for themselves. I heard OEM can be kind of a pain from them, but as many as I've checked out from Justin and Asher, all of his stuff is pretty spot on, and this fit and finish is fantastic as well. So action, thumb stud, fires out of there, very nice and snappy. The thumb studs are placed like perfectly, the perfect distance away from the scale, so your thumb just kind of pops back in here. Fires right out. Reverse flick works really good. Pops right out of there. Love how that just fires. You can use the fuller for flicking on both the thumb flick as well as the reverse flick. It works a little bit better with the reverse flick just because, the thumb, you kind of have to like hold the knife a little bit differently, and you don't have as much. Your thumb is obviously like fatter and wider than your middle finger. So your thumb kind of just has to like shove in there, and sometimes it doesn't work. So I tend to only use the thumb studs with thumb flicking, but with the reverse flick, middle finger flick, spidey flick, the palm or the pad of your middle finger kind of just sits right down in there and it pops right out. So usually when I'm, fidgeting with this for quite a while, I'll go back and forth between utilizing the fuller for reverse flicks and using the thumb stud. Just depends on, your hand placement and things like that. So either way works really good. You can, of course, slow roll this knife out. Nice like that. And then no blade play at all. Nice amount of lock bar access there for the inset liner lock. Drops to your thumb, few micro shakes, or drops to your thumb, one shake in your home. Very smooth on bearings. I have not taken this knife apart, and I've carried it quite a bit, so it is a little dirty in there. So I'm sure if I went in and cleaned it up and added some KPL to it, the action might be a smidge better. But as it stands right now, this is from the factory. Still no blade play, locked up really, really tight. Just a fantastic knife to fidget with. Great action, great deployment on the thumb studs with reverse flicking and thumb flicking. Great closing action. So all around, another easy 5. Next up is acoustics. And I was thinking in my head, before I was reviewing this, I was kind of just sitting here fidgeting with it, thinking about like going over some things in my head. And I'm pretty sure this is going to get a 5 out of 5 on every single category besides acoustics. And that's where it might fall a little bit short from being a perfect EDC knife in my eyes. Even though it's so close, guys. Because not to skip ahead, but like Ergos, it's very, very comfortable carry. It's a great carry. in price and value, you guys all know pretty much every Asher knife that I'll ever review is going to get a 5 out of 5 on the price point to materials to the value sort of equation we have going on there. But and as much as I want to give it a 5 out of 5 on the acoustics, you don't get. I'll let you guys listen, but you don't get like those super high pitched tings. You get a few of them. I mean, it is so good. It's so close to being a perfect 5, but I'll let you guys be the judge. And I hate being so nitpicky with things like this, but I really try to be transparent when I do these reviews. And, I think I'm pretty fair when it comes to things. And I think I grade a lot of pocket knives pretty well. But yeah, we'll just let you guys hear. I mean, you get some really nice, snappy kind of thwacks, and it has a smidgen of like wanting to be high pitched and kind of echoey. I mean, it's very, very nice to listen to. It's pleasant on the ears, in my opinion, when it comes to acoustics for pocket knives. But you're just not getting, which I thought you might with this knife because it is a titanium, hollowed out a little bit with the internal milling knife. But I can't give it a true 5. It's going to get a 4.5, which you guys know is still very, very above average. I just can't give it a full 5 out of 5 because, it's just not giving you those high pitched things. It's giving you those really nice, loud snaps, which I thoroughly enjoy, but you're just not getting those rings and things like that you typically can get with a titanium folder. But yeah, so 4.5 out of 5 on the acoustics. Next up is ergos. You guys already know, just looking at this knife, it's probably gonna be comfortable. And like I harkened back to earlier, harkening back to what I was talking about earlier, clean lines and simple lines on knives tend to mean that they are very, very comfortable in hand. And this is right on par with that. I can get all 4 fingers on here nice and comfortably. Have this nice little indentation there on the liner lock. You have some jimping, which is good for comfortability. Oh, my nose is itchy. My thumb lands right up here on the blade. Very, very comfortable in saber grip, hammer grip, reverse hammer grip. You can drop it around. If you had to use this in a fight, I mean, you have a nice little landing area up for your thumb. You have to do some slicing and dicing. Titanium is nice and it's rounded off and chamfered, maybe even a little contoured in the right areas, but very, very comfortable. The pot clip, yes, it does stand proud, but the way you hold the knife, you avoid, because this is so much higher than the knife, you avoid that sort of hot spot area. And like these edges are a little bit, not sharp, but maybe a little bit uncomfortable if you were to have them in the middle of your hand. So having the clip be sort of higher than the end of the knife makes it really comfortable in hand. You can kind of choke up here on the edge if you're being very, very comfortable, or very, very careful, excuse me. But you are very close to the edge. So again, you do have to be very careful. Pinch grip works really good with this knife, but you don't have a super low tip, so you kind of have to drop up like this. But all things considered, again, no complaints, very comfortable in hand. Just a perfect size EDC knife in my opinion. I love this sort of medium size, I'm guessing 3.25 inch roughly blade. Just very, very comfortable in hand, and again, no complaints. So 5 out of 5 on the ergos. Next up is carry. Like you guys can see, and like we've already talked about earlier, this pocket clip is very, very deep. I mean, so this thing disappears into your pocket. I love the way the pocket clip looks. It functions very well. Drops it down in your pocket. You have no flipper tab, no jimping or anything like that on the knife to possibly risk catching on your hand when you're coming up out of your pocket with something and pulling it out of your pocket as well. So no issues whatsoever. I've carried this primarily because it is summer here, and I got this, late spring, early summer. I have not carried this in jeans, but I've carried this in gym shorts and in my khaki/bird dog shorts. Works really, really well. Again, it is, lightweight for being a full-time model, and I mean, it's nice, slim profile. Again, nothing to complain about, and I really don't want to just ramble on about stuff, so it's going to get a 5 out of 5 on the carry. And then lastly, it brings me to price point / value / would I recommend this knife. I can recommend this knife so easily to you guys. This, like I said earlier, I think this is my favorite model from Asher so far. And he has had some absolute beauties over the last couple years of him starting his company. But I think this right here is the pinnacle for me so far. And I can't wait to see what he comes out with in the future that surpasses this. But, I mean, price point on this. And again, it's not showing up on the website for some reason. Like, I mean, I can look at a lot of the other models he's released recently. Like the most recent one I think was the Asher Spiro carbon fiber with the Wharncliffe. You can click on details and then it brings up like all the stuff about it. And actually, I think you can get, yeah, some of those are currently in stock, which is not very often you see Asher have in stock knives on their website. So that was a little bit off guard for me. But it shows like the price on everything else except for like the Thai models. And I don't know some of the Thai models and I don't know why. But I want to say, I think this one was like $145. So we'll say $150 for this. I don't know where else you can get. Well, I mean, I don't want to say that anymore because they are getting, you know, pretty good models and pretty good materials for price point nowadays. But 20 CV, full titanium, inset liner lock, loop over style, deep carry titanium clip, great action, great fit and finish, great carryability, great ergos for $150. I don't know how you can beat that. I think that's a fantastic value. And I think Asher has really stayed true from the beginning to now to always producing really, really good models. And they're really packing in a lot of features and a lot of great materials for sub $100. I mean, it used to be back when he came out with his first stuff, he was, you know, making S35EN knives and, you know, G10 and micarta and stuff like that for like $70 to $80. I remember the one knife that I really, really regret selling was the Thai Nomad in M390. It basically was a bug out killer, so thin. I really, really, that is like a top 3 knife of mine that I super, super regret selling in the past. And that was like an $85 knife. Such a fantastic value. And yes, they've come up in price and stuff like that, but you know, so is everything else in life. But I still think this is a fantastic value. I can recommend it every single day and twice on Sundays. Price point to value to recommendation, easy 5, guys. And I don't even have to do very much math. I know that this is getting a 34.5, so just missing out on the perfect category, but it lands right at the top of the fantastic category. And I think that this is, I want to hearken it as a perfect knife, and it's very much a perfect knife for me, except for that stupid acoustic, which sometimes I hate the way that I have to grade things like that. But I guess it's the way I set up my reviews, so I have to do it. But yeah, just a fantastic model. And again, I'm so happy to have this in my collection. I carry this quite a bit, and I especially love when I go out and do things like in the city of Pittsburgh or things around there. I love taking this with me and being able to, like, you know, post photos with because to me, it's cool going out and doing things in the city, but carrying a knife that is also, you know, not made in the city, but like it's designed and it was created from someone who lives in the city, and it has, you know what I mean? So it's a knife from Pittsburgh, and I love carrying it while I'm doing things in Pittsburgh. So, but yeah, just a fantastic knife, and I am very, very happy to have this beauty in the collection. So drop a comment. I can't talk right now. Drop a comment down below. Did any of you guys pick up one of these from one of his drops he's done? Did any of you guys have the micarta version of the Douglas? And if you don't have one, are you wanting to pick one up in one of the future drops? Let me know, because as always, I would love to hear what you guys have to say. But I'm going to wrap this up now. I've taken up enough of your guys' time. So thank you guys again so much for watching. I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you guys. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your morning, evening, night, weekend, whenever you're watching this. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.